Welcome back, beautiful and amazing human beings, to the WeAreChange Sunday recap show called What the Hell Really Happened, where we go over all the important news that happened this week. And of course, a lot of news this week revolves around the Las Vegas shooting, Hollywood being exposed. But this week, we actually get to come back to one of our niche topic, and that, of course, is the U.S. Petrodollar foreign policy and war. Now, of course, don't worry, we're going to give you important updates about the Las Vegas shooting and Pettowood. But I think the most important story this week is how the U.S. government broke a deal with Iran while the same week making a deal with ISIS. Stay with me for a second as I explain what happened. This week, U.S. President Donald Trump took to the world stage and decertified the Iran nuclear deal. Now, if you don't know what the Iran nuclear deal was, it was a deal struck by Barack Obama and the Iranian government that significantly reduced their nuclear weapons capabilities in exchange for relieving and ending economic sanctions on the country that the United States imposed on them. Now, according to many independent government bodies and investigators, Iran was compliant with this deal and following the rules, but Donald Trump still went on the world stage and said, no, and decertified the deal that they had that they were compliant with because he said that Iran is destabilizing the Middle East, financing terrorists, and said something to the likes of making weapons of mass destruction, which I think now most Americans know is code word for, we're just gonna lie to you, which they did. So with this decertification, now Congress has to decide whether the U.S. will remain in the deal or not. Donald Trump also levied new sanctions on Iran, which Iran responded by saying, if you put more sanctions on us, your regional military bases that surround our country would be at risk. Now, if you've been studying American foreign policy, you understand that an Iran war is a wet dream for the neoconservatives in this country. It's been planned and talked about decades ago. And of course, hacks on the left Democratic side and Republican side have been pushing for it. And when all of this news happening, even an ex-George W. Bush official is coming out and warning that Trump's latest action is itching for war, and said, quote, if you think Iraq was a bad war, wait until you see Iran. He said, quote, I think we are doing the same thing as we did in 2003, and I was very intimate with the process in Iraq, and that we are marching down the road to war. Germany's foreign minister even came out and warned that Donald Trump's moves on Iran right now are increasing the risk of war. He said, quote, by doing that, he assured that the new agreement will fail ultimately, and then what you have is one choice, war. The end game is to provoke Iran enough so we can go to war. And yeah, I have to say, from my analysis, the chances of war are becoming more likely. But honestly, we have to ask ourselves, who does this war actually serve? And I think Julian Assange of WikiLeaks put it best, saying that Israel has colonized Trump's foreign policy even more than Obama's, and that it's not America first, it's Israel's right-wing political party first, Saudi Arabia second. And we have to call a spade here, because this aggression towards Iran works foremost in the benefit of Israel, because Iran supports Hezbollah and now has a very important presence inside of Syria, right on Israel's border at the end of this big Syrian conflict that's happening right now. And then second, Saudi Arabia, whose chief oil exporting competitor, who religiously they are at odds with and currently have a proxy war going on in Yemen, also benefits from a more aggressive U.S. policy towards Iran. And that reality, of course, you'll never hear on the U.S. mainstream media. And now, with the Iran nuclear deal looking like it will expire, who did the United States cut a deal with this week? As the Washington Post unfairly reported that, quote, a deal was reached to evacuate civilians - local militants from ISIS-held Raqqa. I hope you're able to see what the Washington Post did here, because many people viewed Raqqa as the capital of ISIS. It's pretty clear ISIS previously controlled the entire area, so when you're talking about militants, quote, militants, you're really talking about ISIS that the United States just struck a deal with. Other people verify the validity of that claim, as even the AFP wrote that ISIS fighters are leaving Raqqa, but failed to mention that it was because of this U.S. brokered deal. And now the United States will bus out ISIS fighters out of the town of Raqqa to Deir Zor, where the Syrian government, along with Iranian and Russian forces, will meet them and have to fight them. Oh, gee whiz, yet another fact that the U.S. mainstream media establishment that is interconnected with government intelligence agencies does not want you to know. And in light of all of this, Iran actually responded to the United States by saying, "Stop worrying about us, your government is about to collapse." And I do have to say, economically, the United States doesn't really look in a favorable position after these latest moves. As we saw, even China, France, Germany, Russia, and even the United Kingdom plead with Donald Trump to sustain this Iran nuclear deal. And with Donald Trump just saying, screw it, I'm just gonna decertify them anyway, we're seeing very aggressive actions by China and Russia as they just announced and launched a yuan ruble payment system that of course will have a negative side effect to the U.S. petrodollar. China is even trying to compel and saying that they will compel Saudi Arabia to trade oil in yuan instead of the US dollar. Very aggressive moves, which of course threaten the US dollar as the world reserve currency. As we know, China is economic partners with Iran, and they're very displeased by Donald Trump's latest moves, which only escalates the economic warfare that has been happening between China and the United States, which of course is leading many experts to predict the death of the US petrodollar, which would end the US dollar being the world reserve currency, and of course create economic chaos within the United States. And if that wasn't enough for your plate, former presidential candidate and Congressman Ron Paul came out and said that the US Federal Reserve's massive bubble is creating a world of economic pain domestically, which of course just creates new money and credit out of thin air. And what do you expect for a country that is in over $20 trillion debt in pursuit of a failing war on terror that is creating more terrorism, creating more pain and havoc around the world while trying to start new fights and new wars? Okay, so now moving forward in other authority figures lying to you news, we have the Las Vegas Police Department and FBI yet again changing the timeline of what happened during the Las Vegas mass shooting. This is the third time, if not more, that this happened, offering up a completely new timeline, contradicting themselves, looking like they have something to hide, and with the authorities still not even being able to keep their story straight of what exactly happened during the Las Vegas shooting. This is the main reason why people don't trust authorities. And to make the situation more confusing than it already is, one of the key witnesses that contradicted the authorities' timeline, Jesus Campos, the security guard and key witness in the Vegas shooting, disappeared as he was set to do 5 interviews, one which was supposed to be on Sean Hannity's show on Fox News, and even his union president said that they lost all contact to him and that currently his whereabouts are unknown. Meanwhile, we're getting more disinformation from the US mainstream media about these events, as they claimed that this Las Vegas shooter was a successful gambler and has earned over $5 million in just gambling winnings. And independent media proved them totally wrong and estimated that he actually lost hundreds of thousands of dollars during his gambling sprees. And all we could say from this contradictory, confusing mess of a situation is that we'll keep you updated on this very important story. And now, of course, continuing on with more cover-up news, we of course have more critical information about the sexual abusing media mogul Harvey Weinstein, and we're finding out that it was Harvey Weinstein that actually paid for Bill Clinton's legal fees during his sex scandal, coming to his aid with donations to Bill Clinton's legal fund during the height of the Monica Lewinsky sex scandal. Of course, uncovering how sexual deviants are protecting each other. Also this week, famous actress Emma Thompson came out and said that Harvey Weinstein is not a sex addict, that he's a predator, a sexual predator, and far from the only one in Hollywood. Who, by the way, Hollywood was dropping hints about for over 30 years, as even Courtney Love in 2005 said,
"Do you have any advice for a young girl moving to Hollywood?"
I'll get lively with this. Harvey Weinstein invites you to a private party in the Four Seasons.
Being, of course, one of many Hollywood figures dropping hints about the behavior of Harvey Weinstein, and now with finally more celebrities speaking out, the dam is breaking on Hollywood's criminal, horrible behavior, as people like Kaya Jones, a former member of the Pussycat Dolls, came out and said that the truth that she wasn't in a girl group, she was in a prostitution ring, that happened to sing and be famous, while everyone who owned us made the money. Actress Rosie McGowan actually came out and said that she told the head of Jeff Bezos' studio that Harvey Weinstein previously raped her, and that they did nothing about it. This was right after this actress was locked out of her Twitter account for some reason, and the cover-up is really indicative to a larger problem that's happening here, as celebrities, politicians, media organizations, and even local police departments are covering up these heinous acts that happen in Hollywood. Former famous child actor Corey Feldman came out and said
that we're the people that did this to both me and Corey, that are still working, they're still out there, and they're some of the richest, most powerful people in this business.
And they are.
And they do not want me saying what I'm saying right now.
Are you saying that they're pedophiles?
Yes.
And that they're still in this business?
Yes.
That's what, and that's what you're saying in your book. When you talk to when you talk to
and
parents,
they don't want me here right now. Trust
Corey,
me. They want me dead.
There are a lot of parents out here who want to put their kids in this business. Their kids are cute, they're great actors. Da, da, da. What would you say to a parent who just has the best of intentions, who's coming here with their child? If you're saying that there's a lot of predators in this industry.
It's a many-feathered bird. Okay? Be careful what you wish for. That's what I'll tell you. You know, don't go into it with naivety. Don't go into it thinking that it's all roses and sunglasses.
You're damaging an entire industry.
Accusing Corey of damaging an entire industry is sick. This industry is clearly filled with sex abusers and pedophiles that are being covered up from the general public while lying to you about their illegal, deprived, horrible behavior. I mean, look into the minds of these sick human beings like Woody Allen, who he says that he hopes this whole Harvey Weinstein scandal doesn't spark a witch hunt. Speaking out to defend Harvey Weinstein now, saying that he feels bad for him. And this is a man who has been accused of sexual abuse himself, as his own adopted daughter detailed sexual abuse that he committed against her, where she claims she was sexually abused at the age of 7 by him. So in my book, yeah, we need a freaking witch hunt right now against these predators, sex abusers, pedophiles, against these powerful freaks that are being protected by news organizations, local police departments, celebrities, and other politicians. And the scary fact behind all of this is that powerful people were protecting Harvey Weinstein for over 30 years. And it's clear that there's more protected, untouched individuals in Hollywood who did and are doing worse things than Harvey Weinstein. It's pretty clear that the upper echelons of Hollywood are sick individuals, and they need to be cleansed with a good dose of truth and reality and justice for their crimes. Yeah, if you agree, share this video. Yeah, I'm pretty much at a loss for words at this point, so let me know what you think in the comment section below so we can continue this conversation. And of course, I wanted to thank everyone from the bottom of my heart for keeping this independent media operation alive by going to wearechange.org/donate and keeping us fully independent and free through PayPal, regular mail, cryptocurrencies, and most importantly, the generosity within your heart to support something that you want more of. If it wasn't for you guys here, I wouldn't be here. That's why I love you guys. Thank you again so much for watching.